Hello guys, this is Sandra here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. It's lovely to have you here. So today, as you can see from my bare face, we're gonna do some makeup, and I thought, you know what, I should do a video where I use all my project pen items, just because sometimes I feel like, you know, I put them away. I have a separate drawer where I keep all of them, and you know, I just obviously dip in there when I get ready, but I sort of in my head, like, I don't know, I don't count them as part of my collection, if it makes sense, because obviously I put them in there because I want to use them. So I don't know, it might be just my head, but I thought I should do a full face of project pen items and get ready with them. I don't know, I just thought, why not? So I'm gonna zoom you in, we can get started, and I already put in a primer, a clear eyebrow gel, and some eye primer that I set with a skin colored eyeshadow, just because those I don't have in my projects. And yeah, let's get started. Now, everything that I use, I will obviously tell you what I'm using, but I don't always remember from the top of my head which project it is, because as I said, it's all in my drawer and I just reach for them. So I can put it on the screen for you as we go, but let's start with eyeshadow, which is what I always do. And I have three eyeshadow palettes that I'm working with. I have these two, and then the Balm Nude palette, and I also have a Tom Ford palette that I'm gonna use. But I thought I'm gonna do a more nude kind of pinky eyeshadow look. So we're gonna start with the Wet n Wild eyeshadow palette and a fluffy brush. This one is the Zoeva 225, and I'm gonna dip it in this dusky pink color. Oops. And blend it into the crease on both sides. Now I'm gonna reach for my Cosette D22 Zero brush. That was a really weird way to say it. So D220, there we go. And I'm gonna dip it into this more burgundy shade, and I'm gonna apply that to the outer corner. And I'm not sure this will be deep enough, so I might have to go over to my Balm palette, we'll see. But I'm gonna still apply this in the crease as well, just using the pointy end of this brush. Just for a little bit of a deepening up there as well. And that I will place right in my crease. Now, a fluffy brush like this will never pick up as much color as a flat brush would, but I'm using the side of the brush to pack it, and then more the tip of it to blend, which works just fine. And there's a bit less on this color, so I'm gonna go back in with a little bit more. I have to say, this one shade, this burgundy in this Wet n Wild Rosé in the Air palette, seems to work a little bit differently. It seems to be a bit drier than the other ones. I don't know why. I feel like that's why I feel it's harder to hit pen on this one than on the other one. I'm gonna just go back to my Zoeva brush and give it a once all over blend without any extra product. I'm gonna dip back in a bit in the lighter pink, the dusky shade, and just blend it a little bit more. Now I'm gonna reach for the Balm Nude palette, and I'm gonna use the shade Sexy, which is again a dark burgundy color. And I'm gonna still use the same Cosette brush and just dip it in there a little bit to deepen up this outer corner. And I don't know why I brought it into the crease. That was not intentional. I think it's just me going on autopilot sometimes. Okay, match up the other side, and you can see how much deeper it makes it. It just gives it a bit more depth. So these two colors actually complement each other quite nicely. I mean, obviously they do, they are the same color. Just a deeper and lighter version of each other, really. Again, I'm taking the Zoeva brush and just go over the blending one more time without any additional product. Now I'm gonna go in with a flat brush. This is just a random flat brush, not really branded, and I'm gonna I think I'm gonna dip in the shade Stubborn first and apply that in the middle portion of the lid, more where it meets the burgundy. So it's not that stark of a difference. And I will still take my Zoeva brush and blend it over. I can always dip back into the burgundy shade as well if I have to go back over it, because sometimes when you apply a pink on top of it, it goes a bit more grey. But for now it's fine. So Stubborn in these bits. And then in the inner corner I can go in with Standoffish, which is still a pinkish shade, but it's just more of a glowy kind of colour. It's a more shimmery shade, and I feel like this is not applied with my without my finger properly. I think these shadows are getting a bit old. Can go in with my finger and just blend the crease one more time. And we're gonna apply another shimmery shade on top of it anyway, so we're fine for now. I'm just gonna do the same on the other eye. As a last step, I'm gonna reach for my Tom Ford palette, and I have a gold topper shade in here, that one. So I'm gonna reach for that one and apply it on the middle portion of my lid and the inner portion mostly, and it just gives it a bit more of a wet kind of look. I don't know how much it comes across the camera. I don't know, can you see? Hopefully. And I'm gonna just go back in with a big fluffy brush. It doesn't really matter, it's Zoeva 227. This is clean, so I can brush off any kind of glitter if it goes there. I mean, if it wants to, you know, it's glitter, it will, but at least I gave it a good chance. And as a last step, I'm gonna reach for the Milani Brown Fierce Foil Eyeliner, and I'm gonna just take a small brush. This is a no-name, just angle brush, and I'm gonna use this to do my signature blurred out line. You know me, I'm not one for giant wings or really sized wings 99% of the time. And this is perfect for that smoked out liner kind of look. Okay, for my foundation, we're gonna do a nice little concoction, because the only foundation-y type of product I have is this Daclyor tinted moisturizer BB cream kind of thing, and it's a bit dark for me at the moment because, you know, I haven't seen too much sun this summer so far. I'm still sporting my white skin, which is sponsored by the pandemic, so I usually mix this in with the whitening drops. I also like to add a fuller coverage foundation, and today I have still a little tester from the Smashbox Studio Skin foundation. So I'm going to add that, but to still give it a glow, I'm not done yet. I'm going to also add a little bit of the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector liquid in the shade Champagne Pop, and I just have this little stainless steel palette that I'm mixing on. So I will show you how it looks like at the end. Usually I add about a drop of this, a pump of this, and then I have to use a little spatula to scrape it out because I cut it in half, and this is the least messy way I can get it out. Actually, I might not add the whitening drops. Let's see, because the Smashbox foundation is a bit lighter, so it lightens and gives coverage more. So this is what it looks like before I mix it all together, and I can just use the spatula for that. So far I haven't added in the whitening drops because actually it might be fine. Yeah, I think it will be fine without that. So we're gonna leave that out. And just gently go in from the spatula, you know, we're not wasting it. But yes, it's too dark, and also this way I can edit more coverage, so yeah. But I'm still using it, I'm not wasting it. Yeah, it's quite a good colour. It's still a touch darker, but it's okay, we can blend it down the neck. Hard to believe that that's still a touch darker, isn't it? But I'm pale. This is a pale summer. It's a bit drier of formula this way because of the Smashbox foundation, but it's okay. I used a hydrating primer, and we can use a nice hydrating setting spray as well later on. Fine, I'm gonna add quickly a concealer because I don't have any in any project pens, and then we can move on. Before we set my face, I have 2 more cream products to go in with. So I have a cream blush from Tom Ford and also a cream highlighter from Topshop. So I'm gonna use the blush first, and I usually like to use a synthetic brush, something like this, or I have another one from Real Techniques that I like as well. But I'm going to use this, which is the Look Good Feel Better finishing brush, it's called. And I'm going to just take a little bit on there and put it on my apples. And sort of stippling motions, and just work it into the skin. And it gives such a lovely natural flush. Maybe a bit more. Highlighter, I'm just going to use my fingers, take a little bit and pat it in this area. There we go. And now again, I don't have a setting powder in any of the projects. I don't think so. Looking around me, I got everything out here just so I know what I use. And no, I don't have any powder, so I'm just going to quickly set my under eyes and more the center of my face, nowhere else really, since it's a drier foundation combination that I used. And then we can move on to under eyes, complexion, brows, and all that fun stuff. Moving on, we're gonna use my Naked Basics palette, and I usually use it to fill in my brows. And I usually use Faint first to generally fill it in, and then I use a bit of Crave to fill in the tails. And then today I'm also gonna use Venus just for the under eye. No, what is that part called? The brow bone. That's what it's called. So I'm gonna use Faint, and the brush I'm using is the Morphe M165, if you were wondering. And I'm trying to go a bit more gentle on my brows lately when it comes to like how much I fill them in. So I will try to stick to that. And generally when I go in with the brush, I try to start at the middle of my brow around the arch where I need the most pigment, and only go back to the front of my brow when I have less product on it. So that way it can be a bit more subtle and more gradient in the front. I have to say as well, this eyebrow gel I use is the Boutique Clear Gel. So Boutique stands for its own range. And I have to say, it keeps your brows in place, they don't move. And if my brows would have the same shape on both eyes, that would make my life so much easier. But of course they are a different shape. Of course they are. Well, it's as close as I'm gonna get them today. And then I'm gonna use a small brush. My favorite, can I see it? Yes. My favorite for the brow bone is this one, which is the Sigma E47. It's bendy, so it's perfect for the brow bone just to glide on, and also in the inner corner, to be fair. So I'm going to dip it into Venus and apply some highlight there. And this is the type of highlight that I actually quite like on my Cupid's bow. So I'm going to use the same brush. I'm so sorry, the lights keep changing. Put a bit there. Put a bit on my nose. Nice and subtle, but there's still a little bit of highlight there. So next we're going to move on to under eyes, and I'm moving back into my Wet n Wild palette and that burgundy shade, just in a small, well, this is a fairly fluffy brush. I know it looks flat, but it's quite fluffy. And I'm gonna just blend this in the outer portion of my under eye, like so. And then we can use a bigger, fluffier brush. This is the Sigma E25, and dip it into that dusky pink shade and just blend it all out. There we go. Now I like to apply mascara first because, I don't know, I feel like if I use like bronzer and blush, sometimes powder flies around and it goes into my eyelashes. Is it just me? I don't know, but I like to leave it last, so I'm gonna wait for that. But actually I'm gonna apply a shadow in my inner corner, and I'm going back to my Nude palette, and I'm gonna mix Standoffish and Sassy, so the white color with that champagne pinky color. And I'm gonna still use the same Sigma brush as we used for my brow bone, and just add a little bit of highlight there. And because we mix it with that white, it's gonna pop a bit more than when we put it on the eyelid. Alright, now we're moving into bronzer. For that I have my Butter Bronzer by Physicians Formula. This is in the shade Light Bronze. And I'm gonna use a Real Techniques small slanted brush because I just want to put it on the perimeters of my face. So this is the number 004. I think this was like from the Blush Crush or Metal Crush or whatever collection, but I don't know, they have so many collections these days. And a little bit here. If you could hear my stomach just right now, I'm so sorry. But just there. Because I have blush here as well, so I don't want to bring it down that much. And then the smallest bit on the top of my nose as well, because otherwise I feel like my nose is not tanned enough. And then I like to put a little bit, I know it's not a contour, I know, but still like to apply a little bit there. And then I also like to take a bigger brush. Now this is a lot bigger, but I don't know, I felt like it. And dip it in and just take a bit down my neck, because I feel like when I'm at my palest, it's weird if I bronze up my face, but nothing on my neck. And you know, I sort of brush it across my boobs and my décolletage, because why not? And it's not like really obvious that it's there, but it just gives a little bit of color. And I feel like there's a bit more color on that side, so let me dip back in. There we go. Now I have two pink powder blushes in my project pens. I have one from Max Factor, but the one I'm gonna use today is this one, which is the Benefit Bella Bamba blush. So I'm gonna just go in on a Becca angled highlighter brush, which I love for bronzer, blush, highlighter. There was just a little something on my face, and dip it in there. Oh, that was a lot. Okay. Usually if I apply too much on my brush, I just like to sort of wipe it on my wrist or the top of my hand, but because I'm holding something, I just do it on my wrist, and then I can go back in and blend it once there's not that much product left. And voila! And because we used a highlighter in the foundation and the cream highlighter, and this is a luminous blush, there's already a bit of highlight. I swear, in real life it looks nice, but sometimes on camera it seems like I have a lot of blush there. So I like to go back in with my powder blush and just powder brush, and just blend a bit more there. As I mentioned, we are already quite a bit luminous, but I like my glow, and I actually have two eyeshadows in this palette that I love mixing for a highlighter. So I'm gonna mix Standoffish, which is this pinky shade that we use on the eyes, and this yellowy shade, which is Snobby. And because one of them is pink, the other one is yellow, they will mix into this like nice, more neutral colored highlighter, and they look so nice together. So I'm gonna do that. And to do that, I'm gonna use my Becca Cosmetics F28 brush, and just dip it a bit in both, and ta-da! Look at that glow that it gives. And I'm going to just apply a bit on the other side as well, and then we blend it even more, don't worry. It just gives such a nice extra bit of glow, and I like to bring down my highlighter on my cheek as well. I just like to glow all the way. This is just how I prefer it. And I'm not going to apply any extra product, but whatever is left, I bring it over my cupid's bow and above my two brows. So it is just really faded out and natural there. So, before I move on to the lips and mascara, I just like to use a setting spray, but I don't have any in a project, so I'm going to set my face, apply mascara, and then go back for the lips. So I finally arrived to the lips, and first I'm going to use this tiny MAC Spice pencil. Look how small that is. To lightly line my lips and to fill them in a little bit as well. And then I'm going to go over it with this Clinique, what is this? Clinique Pop Lip Color and Primer lipstick in the shade Nude Pop. And I will have to take a lip brush for this. So this is just a random one from an art shop actually. But, you know, they work perfectly. And I feel like it's not just fully pink enough, so that's why I'm biting on just a cotton pad. What is this called? Cotton pad, right? Yeah. To take off some of the excess, so I can apply a lip gloss on top of it. And this is not a project pen, but it's okay. Just a touch pinker, not a lot. So there we go. This is the finished look using only project pen items, or well, you know, 99% of project pen items. And this is more just to remind me and you, because if you're like me, you know, sometimes I feel like, oh, I have to use these products, but actually they are still products and I love them, and you know, they're really fun using, but sometimes when you have to reach for them again and again and again to show progress, you know, we can forget, I think, sometimes that, you know, they are actually really nice products to use. And I just realized I could have used my MAC Paint Pot to prime my eyes, but I didn't, so whoops. But either way, I hope you still enjoyed it, and you know, I hope I inspire you to play with your project pen items either way, because this is a look that, although is really simple, I haven't done in, I think, a really long time. And you know, they all work so nicely together, and that eyeshadow as a highlight, oh, I love it. But either way, let me know what you think of this video. I'm gonna go now. If you liked it, please give it a like, and please consider subscribing to my channel. It would mean so much to me. I post videos every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, and I have the occasional Saturday videos as well, and I post about beauty, especially makeup. That's my jam. But for now I'm gonna go. I hope you have a lovely day, and bye bye. Hope to see you in my next video. I'm still porting as if you fly a plane. Oh my god. So moving on. If I show the front, that would be a lot nicer. Spice pencil.